All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Suki. I'm the admissions manager of Hong Kong Baptist University, HKBU, and I will be the moderator today. So as you can see on the screen, we have three lovely guests with us today, and they are actually our international students who has joined our university in 2020. And obviously, 2020 is a year of change and also upheaval, not only to some of the countries, but actually the entire world. The pandemic has actually brought the world a number of different challenges, including our economic downturns and also medical challenges, and of course, travel restrictions that we have never imagined before. And I'm sure for some of students, if you had a plan to study abroad in the university, your plan may have been changed or affected as well. However, under so many uncertainties under the pandemic, there are still a number of students choose to take a really bold step to step out of their comfort zone and then to study abroad in a university in a new country. Today, it is our pleasure to have our three students to talk to us, and they will talk about the difficulties they have encountered and also how their university life under the pandemic is like. To begin, let us allow them to introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, my name is Adina Makasheva and I am from Kazakhstan. I'm majoring in sociology and I'm recipient of full admission scholarship and Belt and Road scholarship, and I arrived in Hong Kong in October 2020. And let Joanna introduce herself.
Hello everyone, my name is Leha, but you can call me Joanna, and I'm from Vietnam, and currently I'm a year one student pursuing the Bachelor of Communication. And like Alina, I'm also the recipient of full admission scholarship. And I came to Hong Kong quite late, just like 3 months ago in February 2021.
And hello everyone, I'm Chad Torres from the Philippines. I'm a first year accounting student under the BBA program, also with a full admission scholarship. I arrived in Hong Kong back in November of 2020.
So thank you, Alina, Joanna, and also Trax present today to share the first-hand experience in this academic year. So in the webinar today, most of the time will be free of them speaking. They will talk about different phrases they have in the journey, from the application process, arrival, quarantine, to settling down in the city, and also their study experience under the pandemic. So please bear in mind that because of the ever-changing pandemic situation in the world, the experience that is shared today may not exactly be what you will experience when you're soon studying abroad. Even if you are one of the admittees of our university that are going to study with us in the coming September, your arrival or quarantine arrangement or teaching and learning arrangement may not be exactly the same with them. So what we want is this webinar today, after listening to the sharing of our students, you will have a better idea of how to prepare yourself to face different kind of challenges or difficulties when you come here later on. Got it? So let's start with the application process first. Joanna, I know that you're going to tell us how our typical application cycle be like, right?
Yeah, sure. So this is my old application process for the admissions in September 2020, and I hope that you can make some reference to it. So the first step is the preparation. You need to prepare some stuff, including academic achievements, for example, your GPA scores, your standardized scores, standardized test scores, extracurricular activities or recommendations letters, and some of more things, but these are the most important things, I guess. The second step is the application. I advise you to to fill in the application form as soon as possible, so that you can have more time to prepare for your application. And one more thing is that you should research into the university carefully to see what is their vision, what the university is looking for, so that you can better prepare yourself with their application. And the third step is the submission. So I personally submit my application in the early round, but you can also submit your own application in the regular route or extended route. So it's really up to you. And the fourth step is the interview. So like in the submission tab, it varies depending on whether you submit in, it depends on which route you submit your application. And finally is the results. So if you got the results that you want, then really congratulations. But if you do not get the result that you want, then don't be sad for too long, because one door closes, then the other door will open. So yes.
Okay, so it seems that your applications process is pretty straightforward. How about Lena? I heard that you have encountered some difficulties during your application, right?
Yeah, that's true. So, as well as Joanna, I applied in November 2019, early round, and I actually faced several difficulties during the application. The first one was difficulty with payment. The thing is that in Kazakhstan, it was really hard to find a bank that can directly transfer the application fee, and I spent few days, maybe a week, running around the city, finding the proper bank, and after that, I still didn't succeed. So I contacted my application manager, and she suggested another way of doing that, and it actually helped. So, what I would recommend is always to talk to your application managers, write the letters to the university, and you will receive some help or advices. The other difficulty was sending the documents. We know that the world was under the pandemic and there were lots of travel restrictions as well as restrictions with sending posts and documents. So for me, it was really hard to find the company to send my documents and stuff. So I contacted my application manager and asked to postpone the deadline till the borders will open and other things. So yeah, they said, yeah, of course, they helped me. They postponed the deadline and everything went well. That's it.
Cool. So, since most university actually have their entire application cycle probably online, therefore, there may not be a lot of big problems when talking about the application, even under the pandemic. However, students may want to pay attention to the payment issue or the mailing issue that Alina has just mentioned. So be prepared and make sure you communicate with your applying university if you do encounter some of the problems. In HKBU, we actually adopt a holistic approach to handle the application, and we will also extend necessary flexibility to students as far as we can. So right now, the second part comes to a part about arrival and quarantine life. And I'm sure this is the part of interest of many students. Trek, would you like to share with us your experience?
No problem. As you can see at the top, it says that it wasn't the best, but wasn't too bad either. That's how I'll sum the entire process up. So the first one here, as a lot of you are wondering if you're going to Hong Kong, is how do I get to Hong Kong, the flight? Of course, I think compared to my time, it should be easier now to book flights because I think flights are a lot more regular now. But during my time, flights were a little bit harder to come by. Also, the requirements I needed to go to go into Hong Kong were a bit more strict. I had to take a PCR test within 2 days of my flight and all that. Also, once in the flight, I realized there wasn't anyone in the plane. It was just me and then entire empty row. I think for a few rows, there weren't any people. And then after that, once I headed there, I got tested in the airport and then went straight into quarantine once cleared. So when I was in quarantine, honestly, I thought it would be worse, but it actually wasn't. When I arrived, I was during the semester, so I had schoolwork to occupy me, but also before I arrived, I already made some friends in Hong Kong, and they brought me some food, which the hotel kindly brought up to me, which was very helpful, very nice. Then after that, it was just freedom. Literally the first night out, when I could go out, I went out and bought myself a chocolate and went looking around, and it was very nice. I thought it would be a lot harder. It was a bit difficult at times because you do feel a little lonely, but not too much really, because we still have the internet to talk with our friends. Alina, how's your experience on this?
Well, my experience was quite similar, maybe because we arrived at the almost same time, late October. You arrived in November, so it wasn't very easy process, to be honest. But I'm really grateful that I had some support from university. First of all, with organization of accommodation. Hong Kong is absolutely new for me. I don't know hotels, where to live and stuff. So university provided the recommended list of hotels, and also they even subsidized a part of the accommodation payment for the hotel, which was really, really helpful. So this difficulty was solved. Another problem was dismissed flights. At that period, it was really hard to find the flight. There were absolutely no direct flights, so I had like 30 hours flight in total. And the thing is that at the same time, when I planned to come to Hong Kong, several other Kazakh students were planning to come as well, and my flight was through Turkey, and other four students, they planned to come through Dubai. And right before the flight, like a few days before, all the flights were canceled except those that were through Turkey. And I was the only Kazakh freshman till I think late March who arrived in Hong Kong successfully. So yeah, it was quite tough, I would say. I was very stressed. Talking about quarantine, you can see me in my hotel room. Hotel was really nice, to be honest. And quarantine itself was better than I expected. I thought I would get bored, like, oh my god, what I'm gonna do for 14 days straight in one room alone. And to be honest, I didn't even get bored because I was self-occupied, and I'm quite active student, so I was like in international association, executive committee, some other interest clubs. So I always had something to do. I didn't even watch movies during my 14 days of quarantine. So as far as you're self-occupied, it's absolutely fine. What about Joanna?
Yeah, so unlike Track and Alina, I came here quite late. So because of that, I spent 21 days for the quarantine, not just 14 days. And I have to say that initially I expected to be very long, 21 days alone in a hotel room to be very long. But it turned out that it wasn't that bad because I had so many assignments and deadlines to finish. So that I got some advice for you is that you should try to find some ways to occupy yourself, bring some of your favorite things, for example, books or food or snacks, so that you'll feel less boring, and you can explore Hong Kong virtually as well, so that you can research into the city. And so after the quarantine, you will have some ideas of where to visit and what to do, for example. And all right, so in the picture, sorry, in the slides, you can see that on the left-hand side is the Hong Kong International Airport. And at that time, I was waiting for the COVID-19 test result at the airport. And on the right-hand side is some of the food in the quarantine hotel for your references. So you can see it wasn't the best, but it was not bad either. So yes, and in case you have any difficulties in case of finding the flights, or when you are quarantined in the hotel, if you have any difficulties, you can for sure email or ask the their school, the university, so that they can help you in some way and facilitate your journey. Yes, that's my part.
I actually cannot imagine a quarantine life for 14 or even 21 days. But indeed, many students that I have talked to before told me that the quarantine life is not as hard as they imagine. And some even tell me that they were unable to finish all the things that they have planned to do during the quarantine. So that's really interesting. I like Joanna's idea of trying to explore the city virtually during the quarantine because it gives you more motivation to fully immerse yourself to the new environment after the quarantine. So after weeks of quarantine, finally you can experience the real Hong Kong life here. Talking about settling down in Hong Kong, I know that three of you have adapted to the environment here very quickly, even under the pandemic. How did you manage that, Alina?
Oh, actually, this is very interesting part of my arrival. So, first, let's talk about food. And I come from Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstani food is very different from other cuisines. So I was quite stressed about it. But what I really, really love about Hong Kong is that here you can find absolutely any cuisine as you want. And I can even find Kazakh food here. So there's absolutely no reason to stress about. And as you may see on the picture, I was exploring different types of food, different cultures, talking about buildings, in Kazakhstan, in my city, we don't really have lots of skyscrapers, huge buildings. And when I saw these concrete jungles, I was amazed. I was a little bit scared, to be honest, but very quickly I got used to it and I even started loving it. And there's so many beautiful spots in the city you can visit, you can just observe, and that's amazing. So I got really used to these concrete jungles. And my favorite part of Hong Kong is people. As you may see in the left bottom corner, this is a picture of my floor mate. I live on international floor in the dorms, and to be honest, these people are the best I've ever met. We are all good friends. We share each other's culture. We cook together, chill, and what I'm really grateful for is that I have two French roommates, and from my very first day of arrival in the dorms, they helped me a lot. They supported me. They showed me places around, so my adaptation was very smooth. What about you, Track?
My experience of Hong Kong is well, a lot similar to yours as well. Um, in my case, I'm a lot more well versed in living in other countries and studying in other countries as well, as I've done it before. But one thing that about Hong Kong is that it really has a bit of everything for you. All these four photos you see on the screen are taken by me. On the upper left, you see Hong Kong Island and some parts of Kowloon, which is of course the urban jungle, and then we have some of the cultural streets on the upper right, and of course we have on the bottom left and the bottom right here we have temples which are literally found in the middle of the city. They're quite interesting to see how you see like greeneries and sometimes like small buildings in the middle of giant skyscrapers, but it's all very interesting. One thing I think people have a question about though is like how is Hong Kong in terms of like budgeting and money and time? Well, as an accounting student, I think living in Hong Kong on a budget, of course, is about budgeting and budget accountability. Um, First off, we know Hong Kong is not exactly the cheapest place to live. It's not too expensive in my experience, but it's also not the cheapest place. So you have to be aware of your money. But one thing that you also have to be aware of is time. Time is one of the scarcest resource I have here because not only do I have to fix my time for classes, but also with friends, socializing, other extracurricular activities, because there's so much to do in Hong Kong. You have to think about it, which ties in with the next one, which is opportunities. A lot of times, not only with school events, but other events, they run at the same time. So you have to know which events you can go to and plan ahead accordingly. So you have to be watching your time and your money so you know you're getting the most out of your experience. Another thing I think people are wondering about if they're going to Hong Kong is like, oh, it's the pandemic, it's a new way. Like, how do I make friends? In my scenario, making friends has not really been that hard. In that case, that before I arrived here, I actually took the initiative in classes and in class and introduction meetings. I already talked to people. One example is actually Alina. We were chatting during the initial introductory courses that time. So we met then, and even before I arrived, I already had friends, and I went on adventures with them. People from other universities, within the universities, went to the beach and hiking. even the night markets. So it's been a very fun ride. I believe Joanna, how was your experience on this?
Well, yeah, because I come here quite late, so that I'm still getting to know people now. I haven't known like all people yet, but like I have to say that study abroad gives you the opportunity to step out of your comfort zone, and you will meet a lot of new people. You'll meet a lot of new friends. You'll get to know a lot of new people as well. So that one advice for you is that you should be open and step out of your comfort zone so that you because like you don't want to be in your own cocoon when you are in a foreign country, right? But I have to say is that you should still be yourself, because sometimes you will encounter some group of friends that you do not find them to be very suitable for you, to be matched with you. But like, yeah, don't try to fit into that type of friends, but just be yourself, but at the same time be open. And regarding culture shocks, I have to say that because Vietnam and Hong Kong, they are quite close to each other geographically, so that I don't find culture to be a problem for me, to be a big deal for me. But in case you have culture shocks, don't hesitate to ask for help. Ask for the help of the schools, of your friends, of international friends, local friends, mainland friends. They are more than happy to help you. And one interesting thing in here is that most young people in Hong Kong, they can speak English. So that I think personally, I think language barrier should not be a problem for you. So just try to take the initiative to reach out to people. And so under the pandemic, is there any difficulties for us to adapt to the environment? So I have to say that yes, there is difficulty. For example, because the class in our academic year, the class is there are many online classes, so that not many students show up in their physical class. So it's kind of hard for you to interact with the classmates if you want to make friends in during the lectures like that. So it's kind of a disadvantage. But as long as you try your best to reach out to people, they are more than happy to help you. So yeah, don't worry too much. The pandemic is just a problem that you can overcome it for sure.
So it seems that all of you have had a good time here right now, and you guys seems to not being affected really too much by the pandemic as people may have thought of. But here we come to the fourth part about the academic. Of course, when you are going abroad for study, and study should be the biggest matter. So how are your study being affected under the pandemic? Please don't tell me that you're totally not affected by the pandemic. What was your experience, Alina?
Oh, so as I came in late October, I studied first 2 months in online mode, and uh, to be honest, it was fine. Classes were the only difficulty was that I needed to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning for classes. But apart from this, it was absolutely fine. Teachers were understanding and they were very helpful, and teachers were ready for the online mode. I guess that's because from the last year, BU is applying online mode. So yeah, it was fine. And after coming here, um, I I experienced mixed mode of studying, and it's actually very nice because I started seeing my teachers, my classmates, what I really missed, and the feeling of going in the classroom, talking to your lecturer, that's very nice. So yeah, academics, it wasn't that hard. It was quite nice, I would say. What about you, Truck? What's your experience?
Yeah, for me, the new learning environment, given by the pandemic and all, well, it really gives you a different new choice. In my experience, the first semester I was fully online, so I had a taste of how it was online. It was a bit, I wouldn't say it's more difficult, it's just a bit different. There are some things that are more difficult, some things that are easier. And then once I arrived here, I tried out mixed mode, which even gave me more options. One thing I found about the new learning environment that we have, especially being here, with the mixed mode, I have more options in what I want to do. As an accounting student, a lot of the times the course load can be quite heavy, especially me. Sometimes I think I took a number of courses advanced, and it's unavoidable. But sometimes there are some late nights you have to pull, and then the next day you have an 8:30 a.m. class, and you can't go there because you're so tired. One thing I learned is that, hey, I can go on online class, not go in the physical class, and just learn from there. But in the afternoon, if I really want to go to the classroom, I could go in offline. So I have more options. Generally, I'd say there are more difficulties to it. Part one being like group projects are a lot more difficult to coordinate. Tying in with your classmate, getting to know them better is a bit more difficult, a bit more effort to put in there. But there's a lot more opportunities there. I would say I learned a lot, especially in communicating, managing people, and relationships, and also generally just it's something applicable to my course, because like as we all know, in the world society, you're not only working with people in your area, but most of the times you also have like associates or colleagues abroad. And I feel like this is a perfect mirror to that. Like learning online, working with group mates online is very similar to that. Joanna, you being in my class as well, in Chinese class, how was your experience on this?
Yeah, I love that class. That class was so fun. Well, so for me, I spent the whole first semester in Vietnam, which means my first semester is fully online. So that I experienced online teaching a lot. And one of my most favorite characteristic of online learning is their lecture recordings. Yeah, so one of my professors said that this online lecture recordings is the beauty of online learning, and I really agree with him. uh, you know what? Because like, for example, when you are preparing for the exams or the test, sometimes you cannot, uh, sometimes you cannot really depend solely on the real-time classes, like your notes or your real-time lectures. Sometimes you need to go back to the lecture recordings. Luckily, you have lecture recordings. You have to visit the lecture recordings to make some notes or prepare for your exams, better prepare for the exams. um, and it really helps, and I really love it. But I have to say that you should not depend too much on their lecture recordings to the extent that you skip the real-time lectures, because when the exam is coming, if you skip the real-time lectures, it means that you have to watch several lecture recordings in a very short time, which makes you really, really tired and very exhausted. And I'm sure that you don't want that. So that one advice for you is that in case in the next academic year we have lecture recordings, then you should use it wisely, make use of it, but don't rely on it too much. Yeah, that's my own experience. And another favorite characteristics of online learning for me is that you can study everywhere as long as your place is quiet and it is internet accessible. Then you can study in it. So I think it is very beneficial. Yes, and I love it. Really love it.
Honestly, I'm very happy that even under the pandemic, with so much hiccups in your study, but you are still very optimistic and try to overcome different kind of like obstacles, that instead of like blaming everyone or everything. So apart from the academic experience, I know that you all also experience different kind of other things outside of the classroom. Joanna, you have just finished the quarantine and start living in Hong Kong since March. So what are your experience so far?
Yes, I took part in a global case challenge, which was organized by our school and the Ryerson University in Canada. Um, it was very amazing because I made some friends and I get some experience. Although our team didn't win, I still got some like money as a reward. So that, yeah, taking part in these activities, you can get some money. That was very beneficial when you're living in Hong Kong. At least for me, I think so. Moreover, and for the extracurriculars or some other activities, you can take part in, for example, the hike organized by the International Association in which Alina is working there. It was very fun. You can make some friends, get to know more people, and besides that, the whole team education, which is like organized by our dorm office, one of the offices of the dormitory. They organize a Tahitian dance class, so that yeah, you can see in the picture, that class is just all girls, but like we really enjoy it, and it was very amazing because like you can release the stress and after a stressful exam period, and I think that was very amazing, and yeah, that was good. I love it.
Oh, about my part, so as you may see, there are lots of pictures. I have even more, but yeah, that's all that I can fit in this slide. On the first left upper corner, you can see the picture of me and my friends outside the university. So I make friends, and you as well can make friends not only in the on the campus but also outside. So there are some of my mainland friends, Japanese friends, and every Sunday we organize dinners, share our cultures, food, and I really love this time. Also, I cook with my Kazakh friends from Kazakhstan, freshmen, as you may see on the next right picture. Also, we go hiking, exploring the city. I found really, really good friends here. Uh, as I mentioned before, I'm quite active student. So another thing that I'm attending this year is business entrepreneurship special training program. I'm ambassador here, and we organize different events, webinars, workshops. So it's always fun. And also, there is another picture of us drawing that was organized by International Association. And yeah, we go drawing outside the university subsidizes it, and it's really, really good time to spend. And what about you, Track?
Well, on my end, well, of course, as similar to you guys, it was fantastic. On my end, the pandemic did change some things of my experience. First off, on the upper left photo, you can see there, that's me skateboarding. I've never learned it before, but it's something I learned while when I arrived here. It's actually a change from what I usually do because I'm mostly into team sports like football and basketball. And when I arrived, those weren't really allowed yet because of the pandemic and restrictions. Although recently they're a lot more available now. But yes, I had to adjust, and since I still wanted to do some sports or something similar, I had a friend teach me how to do the skateboard. Also, I did join a number of competitions in a group and also solo. In the middle photo, just the three guys hanging there are actually me and my group mates. For the lack of a better photo, because we don't really take that much photo of us. That we joined a competition together, and a lot of it was a lot different than usual. Because usually you'd have panelists in front of you, and you show your case or your pitch in front of them. But since it's all online now, we did our pitch online, and the panelists were all on Zoom. It's a lot different from the usual, but we got through it. And another one is a solo competition I joined. Well, not it wasn't solo, but I joined it solo, where we had to present a pitch for 5 minutes. And this one was way different because you had no interaction with the judges or anything yet until the final round. So you sent a video to them, which was 5 minutes. So rather than focusing on slides and presentation and answering questions initially, you're more focused on like video editing and how to present your idea. So it's a hell of a lot different. But also one major thing is like going out with friends, hiking, things like that. I was still able to do a big part of my experience here in Hong Kong. Honestly, locals, internationals, all of them are very amazing people, and everyone has a story to tell, and I love hearing everyone's stories. Next.
So here comes a very important questions for all of you, three of you here. Coming to a new country to set out your university journey abroad during the pandemic, have you ever regrets?
For me, absolutely none. As I said, I've done this before. I've studied abroad in a different country, in a different school. And it's still as amazing, if not more amazing than it was before. You still get to do a lot of things, experience so many things, and learn so much from different people. And of course, you get to teach other people as well about your culture, your life, what you've experienced, which has been a really big key part of my experience here. And also, not only is that, but like professors, what you learn is that professors coming from different backgrounds will give you a lot of different views and insights, and that's something I really learned from here. Alina, how about you?
Yeah, similar to you, track. Absolutely no regrets. I'll be absolutely frank. This is one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I really think that coming here was my best decision. I really enjoy my life right now, to be honest. And what about you, Joanna?
Yeah, so of course, yeah, I have to say that I do not regret coming here, study abroad here. And I have to say that the university really does the best to facilitate our learning under the pandemic. What I am having right now, what I am experiencing right now, I'm really grateful for that. And I cannot, how to say, like, I cannot get enough of it. So if you are worried about coming here, then I think that you should not worry too much because it's all gonna be fine. And moreover, studying abroad is such a lifetime experience for me, to be honest, because as you can see in the slides, that was me sharing about the social ethic of my home country, Vietnam, in a local secondary school in Hong Kong. And well, of course, I think most of us will not experience that feeling before sharing your home country in another country if we live in our home country. So I think it's really a lifetime experience. You're not gonna have it anywhere. And how to say, it's also a life-changing experience because it's gonna change the way you view life. It's gonna change. You will be more independent. You'll be more grateful for what you're having. So I hope that. So what I'm experiencing right now, what me, Track, and Alina is having right now, we are really grateful for that. And our cohort can overcome the challenges caused by the pandemic. So I hope that your next cohort can do so as well. So yeah, don't worry too much. You will all be fine.
All right. Thank you so much, Joanna, Trek, and Alina as well for sharing with us their personal experience. I really need to emphasize to our audience today that actually all of the contents here are prepared by the students themselves. We have never asked them to focus only on the positive side of studying abroad or to hide any negative side about the experience. After all, the reason we want to organize this webinar today is to remind the students that you have to understand and be prepared for what you're going to experience when you are studying abroad during the pandemic. So of course, this is not solely fantasy. There will be ups and downs. However, studying abroad overseas under the pandemic may not as challenging as you may have thought of. So I guess right now, some of you may have questions for our students. If you do, please make use of the Q&A box and you can type all your questions there and we will try to answer all of them or as long as the time allows. And meanwhile, if you're interested in studying abroad or studying in Hong Kong Baptist University, so please stay here because right after the Q&A section, we will actually go through the admission information about studying in Hong Kong and studying in Hong Kong Baptist University. So that will take another probably 15 minutes. So let me see if we have any questions here. Okay, let me see. We have a student asking about how do the dormitory or maybe can you share some of your dormitory life? How about Alina? Alina, it seems that you have a very happy dormitory life with your roommate. So do you want to share a bit more about your dormitory life?
Yeah, of course. So, actually, university provides 2 years of living in dormitories for international students. I don't know how it's going to be for the next year, but at least for me and for previous years, we have 2 years in dorms and 2 years we self-organize it, and we also have international house, like kind of hotel for internationals of year 3, year 4 master's degree, and it's also on campus and it's pretty available by price, so it's absolutely fine. We have two towers, south and north, and each tower has 18 floors. I don't know the capacity of each floor, but I think it's around 50 or 60 people, and we have a lot of places to live, I think. And the facilities in dorms are very nice, to be honest. We have very nice kitchen, fridge in the common lounge, in every room. We have ACs in each room, in the lounge. We have TV. Lounge is actually a huge room where we eat, talk, organize activities and stuff, and it is on each floor. We also have some chilling space on the first floor, like table tennis room, cinema room and stuff. We also have some competitions held. Recently, I attended the singing competition. I'm not a singer, it was for a joke, but it was fun. And after this competition, there were some very famous Hong Kong rappers invited. So we had like a private HKBU music concert. It was amazing. So yeah, whole life here is very bright, I would say, and very fulfilled with different events. Even sitting in the dorms the whole day, trust me, you will have to do something, because also the administration of the halls, they also actually live here in dorms. So anytime you have any difficulty, you can just go to their room, knock on their door, and like, yo, can you help me, please? And they will always help you. We have non-local mentors, also international students of senior years, that are also monitoring us, helping us. And I would say life in dorms is very, very nice. Yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you, Lena. So I want to address the questions of the students. So in general, for international students, you will be guaranteed for at least 1 year of stay in the on-campus accommodation. And then after the first year, and then you can still apply for the accommodation, but it will be depends on the competition with the local students and some other students. Then you may be offered the on-campus accommodation. But if not, there will be also many international students will choose to stay off campus together. They may rent a flat outside of the campus and then live off campus. But in general, they will choose flats that close to their campus so that they can access to the class very easily. And I have another questions about what does mean by the mixed mode. Is that whether the student can choose to attend classes in person or not? From maybe one day you attend classes, the next day you don't attend. How about Track? Did you want to answer this question for us?
Sure. Yes. Actually, with the mixed mode, generally, if your class is in mixed mode, yes, you can either choose to go to class or attend it online. You still have to attend class. Don't get me wrong there. It's just that whether you go into the classroom or not is up to you. Is you either go online or to the classroom. But on a side note there, it actually really depends on the class itself. Because some classes, I think for some of my friends in the visual, I think the arts, theater arts, acting classes, it's better if you're in the classroom itself, and it's preferred just because of the course and the content that you have. So they're mostly offline. Then some classes, because one example is my English class, where a lot of people are still abroad, and it's inefficient since nobody goes to a classroom anyways, that they decided to make it fully online. But for most classes, it is mixed mode, where you can choose either online or offline. Again, it really depends on the class and the nature of the class that you have. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. We have another question about how easy it is to get along with the local students. Any of you want to share your experience getting along with the local students here?
Since I'm here, it's actually really easy. Like at first, it would seem like it's hard because they might be a bit shy talking in English. That's the main issue, really. But after you get to know them, they really it's sometimes like they're the ones that end up approaching you. So it's just a matter of like starting the conversation. You know how it is like I think everyone's aware like if there's a stranger, there's a foreigner, and you're not used to the language, you tend to be shy, right? But if you open up and you talk to them, they will answer you, and they will try to be friends with you as much as they can. Alina, do you have anything on this?
Talking about locals, I would say that yeah, that's true. They are very shy about their English, and basically to approach you. But the thing is that, um, as soon as you approach them first and you tell them, "Yo, English language is also second language for me as well as for you." And we're in the same position, so don't be shy. Practice your English with me. I'll practice my English with you. And they get quite open, and you will really experience that they are very nice people. To be honest, I've never seen mean local student here. They are very nice, understanding. If we need help with translation or whatever, they are always helping, especially on my floor. They're even cooking some food for us. They are very, very friendly. That's what I really love about local culture and local people. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Alina. Actually, we have some more questions, but I noticed that some of the questions are more related to the admission information, like about the scholarship or some tips about how to mention the extracurricular activities that they have attended in high school. So probably I'll leave these questions till the end because right now I want to mention a bit about the admissions information of Hong Kong Baptist University. And then after my presentation, we will continue to answer questions related to the admissions matters. So right now, let me share my screen first. All right. Okay. So I want to start with studying in Hong Kong. So here you can see a lot of pictures that typically pictures that you can search online. If you type Hong Kong in Google or in any search engine, you will see we have a very beautiful harbor. We have a lot of high-rise building. We have wonderful nightlife, and you can see that we have as Aline mentioned, all kind of cuisine available in the town. So here is another picture from the angle from top of the mountain. You can see that, of course, we have a lot of high buildings in the city, but like the students, he's actually doing hiking in the town. You can see that actually in Hong Kong, if you want to enjoy a slow pace of life, this is not impossible. Here is the location of our campus. And you can actually see that we are located here in the city center. In fact, if you look at the map of Hong Kong online, you search it, then you can see that we have a lot of green areas in the town. So if you want to enjoy a more slow pace of life, that is definitely possible. In Hong Kong, of course, we are very famous for being our global financial center. We are actually ranked the 4th this year, and we are also the 5th most competitive economies in the world. In general, the unemployment rate in Hong Kong is relatively low. Of course, right now, because of the pandemic, the unemployment rate has increased a bit. But still, I think the rate is relatively low when comparing to many major cities in the world. And also in Hong Kong, we have a policy called EN, which allow our students, after they graduate, they can stay for another year after the graduation without any restrictions for them to seek for job. In fact, in Hong Kong, our education is quite affordable. One of the major reasons is that most of the university here are government funded. So we have very good resources in terms of the facilities and also the faculties. And in general, you can see in this chart that the tuition fee of universities in Hong Kong in general are lower than major cities in the States or UK or in Australia. And in Hong Kong, as our student mentioned, actually we use English as the medium of instructions in most of the universities here. So talking about Hong Kong Baptist University, I've just mentioned in the picture that we are located in the city center. We are rather a medium-sized university when comparing to other universities in Hong Kong. Although we are not big, we are rather small, but actually we offer a very caring community because we are small. In fact, the student-faculty ratio here is about 14:1, which gives our student a very personalized learning experience together with the faculty members. So right now, I want to share with you a very short video for about 90 seconds about Hong Kong Baptist University.
Welcome to Hong Kong Baptist University. 4 years later, she will be more confident and represent Hong Kong in a competition. A year later, this absent-minded guy will find out his favourite subject. He'll know how to look after himself after a year. 3 years later, he'll receive his technology award for the first time. They'll have produced their first film in 5 years. 8 years later, he'll join a famous overseas orchestra. She will have revitalized a historic site and left a mark on the map in the next decade. They'll no longer dance 11 years later, but view their team leader's performance instead. They'll continue to unleash their talent in society in 2 decades' time. Back to the present. The most wonderful story has yet to start. Everything remains unanswered. But you'll have expectations, excitements, and hopes. Welcome to another starting line, or many others. Welcome to Hong Kong Baptist University.
So as you can see in the video, actually, we treasure different kind of possibilities the students can have during the university study. So we offer different kind of opportunities for the students. We want to grow, to develop the attribute of our students to be more creative, be innovative, be global, and also be caring. In terms of be creative, you may learn from our program list that we actually have different kind of programs that are related to creative domains. For example, here you can study visual arts or music or film, and usually they are in a very small class sizes. And even if you are not majoring in these subjects, you can also take elective classes about the creative classes. In terms of be innovative, in fact, in HKBU, over the years, we have registered for over 220 patents already. And we don't open our research opportunities only to postgraduate students. If you listen to sharing from track or some other students, we actually have undergraduate students, even if they are year 1, they may have the opportunities to take part in some of the research as well. In terms of Big Global, you can see that we have a different kind of global experience for students to gain the global exposure. We offer not only the exchange programs only, but also internship or some overseas study trips. In fact, we have more than 350 overseas partners in over 50 destinations in the world. Talking about Be Caring, we actually offer different kind of service learning opportunities. So what makes us different is that we are not only offering the service learning opportunities outside of the classroom. In fact, we try to incorporate the service learning element into some of our curriculum, which means that if you are taking certain kind of courses, you will be able to do service learning during your course. So here you can see that we have a constellation of different BU graduates. They have diversified career prospect. We have students becoming entrepreneur, becoming scientist, director, curator, or even polar expedition expert. This actually cohere with the diversified program that we are offering in Hong Kong Baptist University. We have 7 different faculties, Faculty of Arts, School of Business, School of Chinese Medicine, School of Communication, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Social Sciences, and also Academy of Visual Arts. So if you're interested to apply to our university, make sure you check our website here. You will need to fulfill our university entrance requirement as well as the English proficiency requirement. For some of the programs, they may also have program-specific requirements as well. So all our application will be done online, and including the interview will be done online using Zoom usually. So students that can actually submit online application with maximum 2 program choices. If you are shortlisted, some of the programs will offer interview or audition or maybe a written test, whatever, to the students. So you can see here that we have 3 rounds of application, the early round from September to November, main round from December to January, and extended round from January to May. So if you're still interested to apply to our university and come to study in the coming September 2021, you can still grab the chance because our application is still open right now and it will be closed after the end of May. So make sure you jot down this website and check all the information and submit an application to us on time. Here is about the fees and expenses. We have list out the tuition fee, usually the hall residence fee or basic personal expenses. If you add up all together, usually you will need to spend around 25,000 US dollar here per every year. But as long as you submit an application, we will review your application to see whether you are outstanding international students that we want to grant you admission scholarship. So the admission scholarship will be solely merit-based, and the full admissions amount will be up to 119,000 Hong Kong dollar, which will be able to cover everything I've mentioned here. So here is our contact information. Make sure you jot down our email and also the website with most of the information I've just mentioned is included, is available on our website. And if you have any questions for us, you can send us an email. So at the moment, we have some time. Probably we can go back to the questions we have received regarding to admission. I've mentioned that we have a student asking, asking your experience about writing the extracurricular activities on your CV. I'm not sure. Maybe this is not. For different faculties, they may have different answer whether the extracurricular activities will have a lot or just a bit. But we can maybe ask the students to see whether they have some insight to share with us. Like maybe for Joanna, do you have some experience because you've mentioned talking about writing down some extracurricular activities on your application? What do you think about it?
Well, I think that you should spend some time selecting which activities that you want to include in your application. So make it cohesive and make it consistent to each other. And because I think that extracurricular is just a part of the application, so you should make sure that it is grammatically correct, first of all, and it is consistent and be honest. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, if you ask me, I would say, of course, all the information you submit will be assessed. So we pretty welcome students to list out the extracurricular activities that you have participated in your high school. But my personal advice will be to list out the information the activities that are more related to the major that you are going to apply. For example, if you are interested in applying to a film-related program, probably you want to explain a bit more about your experience in maybe acting or video editing, something like that. That probably helps. But of course, all the information you submit to us will be assessed and they will be considers when we are when we are offering your admission offer and also admission scholarship. Okay, I have another question talking about you will graduate from high school in mid-June. So if you plan to take a gap year, and then can you still apply to HKBU in the middle of 2020 or end of 2022 afterwards? Of course, yes. If I go back to the slides about our application rounds, you can see that for example, if you want to apply for admission in 2022, then right now I cannot tell you the exact deadline, but usually most of the deadlines will be in similar pattern here. So for 2022, probably the early round will open in the coming September to November, and then the main round from coming December to next year January, and then extend the round from next year January to May. So of course, you can take a gap year first if you want to, and then submit your application. Still, we want to advise students to submit an application earlier if possible, because we have limited amount of admissions resources. Admission scholarship resources. So if you are interested and you want to gain their admission scholarship, we usually encourage our students to submit an application earlier, that it will give you a slightly higher chance for getting a scholarship, even if you have a same mark with another student. All right, let me see. Do you offer any scholarship for agricultural science program? Actually, for our admission scholarship, we do not say it is particularly for one program or not. Actually, we have admission scholarship for all the programs that you're going to apply. So don't worry about which program you're exactly applying if you want to get the admission scholarship. And then consider a degree. Okay, I think we have another student talking, asking about the progress of the student visa, because that is probably more a personal issue. So we will jot down your information, and we will check with the team handling the student visa. And I guess as the student asking this question is a student that have already admitted to our university and coming in September. So we probably will send you an email to give you update information about your student visa application progress. And finally, we have one more questions about if you have graduated from senior high school, is considering the sub-degree program. Actually, if you graduating from the high school, you can apply for year one, like all other students, and unless you are the final year or the holder of a diploma or maybe associate program. If you're just graduating from your high school, then probably you will apply for our year one admission. All right, I think we have answered all of the questions here. And so thank you so much for our participants today, listening to all of us sharing. And I'm also very happy to have Alina, Trek, and also Joanna to talk to us today. Thank you so much. And we will upload this webinar because we have recorded. So we will upload it online, and later on we will contact the registrant to send you the recordings if you want to review this video today. Okay, thank you so much and have a good day. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.